Hi, everyone. My name is Colleen, and I work for NAMI Southeast Minnesota. I just became a DBT Skills trainer, and we did an introduction on May 13th of 2022, and classes will officially start this Friday, actually on June the 10th at 10 a.m. until about 11:30. So I am going to record this so that we are able to have our introduction on our website. I'm doing this without any people, so it could look a little bit funny. I hope not, but sometimes I'm technology non-inclined. So, all right, so we're going to get started. And this is, again, an introduction to DBT skills. And DBT stands for Dialectical Behavior Therapy. And it is truly the therapy that saved my life. I have been on a mental health journey for 30 years. And this is the therapy that actually I was able to pull myself out of some pretty low times in my life using the DBT skills. All right. So there I am. My story isn't over. I love the semicolon. Who am I? My name is Colleen, and I'm also known as CJ. I am a DBT basic graduate. I am a DBT parent participant 2 times through. I also have attended graduate group and most recently became a trained DBT skills teacher. I also am a certified peer support specialist, and I am the NAMI Southeast Minnesota Walk Manager and Development Associate. We can talk about the walk later. All right. And as you can see, I just pushed the button to go the wrong way. So we're just gonna run through this again, and then hopefully it will take it. There we go. So in this slide, who are you? Just thinking about who you are. We would do an introduction of your first name, where you are from, and if you have experienced any DBT in the past. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you who I really am. I am a caring individual, and experience is my strength. I am diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, major depression, which is recurrent, and I do have generalized anxiety disorder. I am a survivor of chronic suicidal ideation. Even to this day, I do have some suicidal ideation that I use my DBT skills to fight off, I call it. I had my first counseling appointment and was put on my first meds as a junior in high school. I have been hospitalized 10 times, and I was in residential treatment once. I have had 2 rounds of ECT, and if you don't know what that is the shock therapy for your brain that's supposed to somehow jibble jabble things around in there to help with your depression. It was not effective for me. And I live by this motto: experience is my strength, growth is my hope. And down here at the bottom, I am now 50. I just turned 50 in April. I got my first tattoo when I was 40, and I'm going to be getting this tattoo in July with a necklace and then hope in the middle, of course, with the semicolon. I love butterflies, and I like this statement: how does one become a butterfly? You have to want to learn to fly so much that you are willing to give up being a caterpillar. All right. So this next screen is the person that developed DBT's name is Marsha Linehan. And she has.
Someone is suicidal. What's one of the first things they should figure out?
Oops, we don't want that to start right now, so we'll go back up here. So Marsha Linehan is, she's the one that came up with DBT. She has a huge, quite a story about her life. She was hospitalized several times. You used to be able to get her story online, but then they wrote a book about her, or she wrote her own memoir. And in our DBT classes, we'll be having moments with Marsha out of the book. So it'll be kind of fun. And now I'm going to play to you, Dr. Linehan, about finding a life worth living. And I'm actually going to start up over here a little bit.
And so the idea is that you can't control the developing life. You'll be able to do it.
All right, and then from Marsha Linehan, she's talking about how DBT skills are for everyone, and they truly are. I think they should be taught in the elementary schools, the high schools. I think they should be taught to everybody can benefit from a DBT skills group. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to listen to that.
Good news is that probably good for everybody. The only reason I know that is everybody I know uses them as everyone. I use them all the time. Just about everybody can use skills to be more skillful. And the only people who don't need DBT skills probably are people who are very regulated. Those skills are really good for depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, drug use, anxiety disorder, etc. Those skills are really about how to be effective. I mean, essentially, beginning to end, they have to do with how to engage your life in an effective way, how to act effectively. The average person could do the skills. They're not that difficult. The only real thing that happens is that you often have people who get furious at you for telling them the skill because it sounds like you're invalidating them. The job of the therapist is to figure out a way to make you see that your life's going to be a lot better if you buy in than if you don't. And you'd be amazed how many people, if they try out long enough, they'll then start saying, wow, you were so right, I feel a lot happier now, I feel better, or this, that, or the other. Generally, if you can get people to practice for a while, you don't give them too much of a hard time. What most people will find out is that over time, they're happier using the skills they're not using the skills. Good news is that probably good for everybody.
Okay. So Marsha Linehan, when she first put together the DBT, she looked at it as a house. And people that have gone through DBT know about the DBT house. And everyone has their own DBT house, but the basic elements of it are that we have hit our rock bottom in the very bottom of the fire. And that ladder, that first ladder that's going from the bottom to the next level is extremely hot. And sometimes we start going up that ladder and we're still burning and we end up coming back down. It's all about behavioral control. And it's because of severe behavioral discontrol. So generally they are in the basement if they have, or if we have hit rock bottom. And then stage 2 is the next level. And that's about learning about emotions and how they affect us and what they do in our bodies, and how we can react or do opposite action when we are experiencing something emotional. And then the third stage is where we begin working on how we're going to live our life. So on the right side of the screen, you will see someone who's got their house started, and her basement is taking better care of her physical health, unloading the dishwasher more often, reducing self-judgment. So something must have happened to put her in that basement. All right, so this is just a slide I had. DBT changes lives. And many times I feel like I'm at the end of this bridge trying to walk and I just keep falling backwards. So I love this image. All right, so this is choose to keep going. And what we're going to go over next are the DBT assumptions. The assumptions that Marcia believes that everyone has, and the assumptions for the actual therapy itself. So DBT assumes that everyone is doing the best they can. And that is doing the best they can in the moment that they're in with the skills that they have. Number 2 is everyone wants to improve. DBT assumes that everyone wants to improve and not stay miserable. Number 3, everyone needs to do better, try harder, and be more motivated. Number 4, people may have not caused all of their own problems, but they have to solve them anyway. 5, everyone must learn new behaviors in all relevant contexts. And the last thing is that DBT assumes that nobody can fail. So if you want to improve, you are not going to fail at DBT therapy. All right, let's see if I get myself up there. There we go. All right, so I'm sure that many of you have heard some of these sayings, like you're not trying hard enough. It's all in your mind. Some people have it so much worse than you do. You just need to exercise. You're wasting your life. How are you? Do they really want to know? Do people really want to know how you are? One of the things that we do in DBT is we take the word but out of our language and we start using the word and. And so it makes a huge difference when you start using and instead of but, because but is actually a negative word. So 2 things can be true at the same time. And an example of a statement would be, my parents could have been better and they did the best they could with what they knew. Now, if we said my parents could have been better, but they did the best they could with what they knew, it sounds like maybe they didn't know enough. But if you insert and, then 2 things can be true at the same time. Another word that we hear often is, are you better? Are you doing better? Oh, you're doing so much more better. I like to use the word managing. When someone asks me how I'm doing, I say that I am managing. I don't know about you if you suffer from depression or anxiety or any personality disorder. It's always going to be there. We manage it. We manage it with meds. We manage it with tools. Being better, you can make that decision. All right, here's another one. Instead of the word fine, we use an emotion wheel. So, how are you doing? Fine. How are you doing? Okay. Instead of fine, we use the emotion wheel. We say, I am happy. I am feeling frustrated. So we actually let people know how we are feeling. When you have a chronic illness, you do not get better, are not necessarily happier, and look for moments of joy instead of happiness. You are managing. The other thing that is so important for people is to listen for validation and also know how to give validation. Again, here is my bridge that DBT changes lives. All right, so in DBT, there are 4 modules that we use. The main core of the whole DBT therapy is mindfulness. And this is the practice of being fully aware and present in the moment. So when we start on Friday, on June the 10th, we will first hit mindfulness. We will be talking about mindfulness. Then we go into distress tolerance, which is how to tolerate pain in difficult situations and not change it. Then we go back to mindfulness. Then we go to interpersonal effectiveness, which is how to ask for what you want and say no while maintaining self-respect and relationships with others. Then we go back to mindfulness, and then we go into emotional regulation, which is how to change emotions that you want to change. Now, if you were in a regular DBT group, which is a weekly group, you would be spending, you would go 2 rounds of these 4 areas, which would take a year. We are doing at NAMI Southeast Minnesota, we are doing this as a way to fill the gap. There are many people on waiting lists for DBT that just can't get in right now. There are people that just want to refresh their skills. And then there's also people that maybe don't have insurance to cover DBT. And we're going to be here, and you can pop in and out. This is not something that you're going to receive a certificate in. It's just something that we're going to do to teach DBT skills. All right, mindfulness, what it is not. It is not something you need to be a Zen Buddhist to do. It is not having perfect focus and never getting distracted. It is not a relaxation exercise, and it is not an attempt to change yourself or the world. It is, everyone can be mindful, whether you know it yet or not. Mindfulness chooses to try to keep your focus, even though distractions will probably arise again and again. Mindfulness becomes an exercise in maintaining focus. Sometimes relaxation is a side effect of mindfulness, other times it isn't. Mindfulness is a non-judgmental acceptance of reality, even though it may lead you to make changes. Non-judgmental acceptance of reality. All right, so in the mindfulness module, there are 2 types of mindfulness skills. We have the what skills and the how skills. The what skills help us know what to do, and the how skills help us learn how to do it. So in the what skills, we observe, we describe, and we participate. So we learn those 3 skills under the what skills. How do we actually observe? How do we describe? And how can we participate? And then the how skills for mindfulness are we do it non-judgmentally, one mindfully, and effectively. And if all of this makes no sense to you right now, this is a-okay. I was very confused in my first weeks of DBT, it all will come together. So I'm going to bring something up on the screen here, and I just want you to take just 10 seconds to decide what you see when I put this up. Okay, so I'm sure that some of you saw little Pac-Mans with triangles cut out of them. Some of you may have seen, oops, sorry about that. Some of you may have seen the triangle in the, well, I guess I can't bring it back up. Maybe, no. Okay, so some of you might have seen that in between the Pac-Mans, there was a triangle. So this exercise is an exercise in observing, because we can't observe what is not there. So that triangle, if any of you saw that triangle in the middle, that would not be what we would be observing when we are in mindfulness. So we would be saying, I saw 3 circles that had something cut out that looked similar to a triangle, because that's what we can see, right? That's what's actually there. So, okay, the next unit would be distress tolerance, and that is getting through painful situations without making them worse. So the next unit would be emotion regulation. And I brought up a slide for emotion dysregulation. And the reason that I bring this up is because these are all the areas that emotion regulation works in. So we'll talk about low self-esteem, we'll talk about problems in relationships, anxiety and emotion dysregulation, fears of abandonment, problems thinking and problem solving, self-judgments, attempts to avoid or numb, impulsive behaviors. So these are some of the ways that our emotions get dysregulated. I can figure out which way my slides go. All right. So the next unit then would be, well, we would go back to mindfulness, and then we would come to interpersonal effectiveness, which are the people skills. So in DBT, interpersonal effectiveness refers to the skills which help us to attend to relationships, balance priorities versus demands, balance the wants and the shoulds, and build a sense of mastery and self-respect. So words, 7%, voice qualities, 38%, and your body language is 55% in interpersonal effectiveness. So we will be talking about all of those things and tools. So interpersonal effectiveness are the skills that help us to attend to our relationships, balance our priorities versus our demands. We are going to balance the wants and shoulds and build a sense of mastery and self-respect. This is kind of what I just said in the last slide. The objective is to clarify what you want from interactions with other people and identify what you need to get the results that you want. So there is a gentleman from Rogers, which is a therapist company, actually. And in review, I think he does the best review. I'm not saying there aren't others, but he does a great review of dialectical behavior therapy. And I'm just going to play this one for you.
DBT is an acronym for Dialectical Behavior Therapy. And what it looks at are 4 main modules. That 2 of them are focused on acceptance. 2 of them are focused on so acceptance is mindfulness. The next one is enlightenment. Figuring out the second acceptance is stress tolerance. Because the reality about life is pain is inevitable. And if we aren't willing to accept that, we're actually choosing to suffer. Still not good for us. And once we're able to accept it, still in pain. However, we're stuck with I don't want to. The last 2 modules are around relationships. First is emotional regulation, because we have to know and be able to describe how we're feeling, not just for ourselves, but we get so caught up in this technology that other people need to know how we're feeling without us knowing. And as much as I've tried, I've not been able to do that. And even years of doing this, I can get emotions wrong by how people train. Because then we can feel something completely different inside compared to what we're displaying outside. So emotional regulation gives us the opportunity to better understand how we're feeling in our body. And then the last is interpersonal effectiveness, which is just a really fancy way of saying how we communicate with ourselves. Because we are all about getting our, we will do so despite or in spite of other people. We will learn vigilance, we will scream, yell, get underneath that, and hearing that. But there's lasting consequences. So interpersonal effectiveness teaches us amazing and helpful ways to get that so that we can grow and really foster our relationships and still benefit from our needs. It's not just like here's one skill that's going to work for everyone. What I really love about DBT and Dialectical Behavior Therapy is that going back to the tools, it is about putting more and more tools so that when we pull it out and put it in work, that's not good. You get to know that, you grab it, and keep doing that until you find it. So I've seen that over and over again with some patients that came in with actually no motivation or completely shut down this mentality that how they're feeling is how they're going to feel for the rest of their life. It's a great way to be able to challenge that and give them actual concrete skills to change.
Just a really good kind of bringing everything all together for us there. See, now I went the wrong way again. Okay, so on this screen, it talks about things that might be mindful or unmindful. So leaving your jacket on the floor when you come in from outside, are you being mindful or are you being unmindful? Things like crossing the street without looking, or practicing a new skill like sports or music until you feel your body improving. So it sounds simple, right? All right, this is the book that we will be taking our handouts and sheets from. This is a link to our website, which has the education on it. And there will be some handouts that will be put on that website. So you can either get the book, you don't have to get the book. It's not necessary. I think the book is pretty expensive, but if you go to Amazon and then get a used one kind of thing, that works too. So that's what the book looks like, and we will have some things on our education page. All right, so we are at the end of this presentation. And again, DBT Skills will start June 10th, and we're gonna go every other Friday. It won't be the first and third or the second and fourth. It's just gonna go on a rotating every other Friday. To get to the sessions, you want to visit NAMI SEMN.org. That's NAMI SEMN.org, and click on the calendar events, and then go to the day and just click on the link there. All right, so calendar of events at NAMI Southeast SEMN.org. Again, my name is at the bottom there. It's Colleen Lehman, and that is my email address, clehman@namisemn.org, and that is my direct line here at the office. So if you have any questions, you can give me a call or an email, and we would love to have you learning about skills, skills for your mental health, and skills that can really be used in a lot of places in the world. So I hope to see many of you there, and until that, continue managing.